Hey guys, welcome back to my comic review series on IDW Sonic the Hedgehog, where I cover each and every issue. Today I'm doing a review of issue 13, which is the start of a new saga in the comic, the Metal Virus Saga. This arc takes place after the events of the first overarching story, the Neo Metal Sonic Saga, which featured the first 12 issues, i.e. separate portion arcs represented as the Fallout, the fate of Dr. Eggman, and the battle for Angel Island respectively. Since this is now a new saga, there will be no recap this time, though I will mention a specific moment from issue 12 that leads up to this arc. If you'd like to keep up to speed in regards to the current context of the story, I recommend checking out all my previous reviews for the series, or alternatively, if you're interested in reading it for yourself, you can find them all on Amazon. This was the website I've been visiting to purchase these comics, and you can get most of them for cheaper prices. However, keep in mind that some hardcovers can range from $33 to $46 if you plan on going for them. Whichever works the best is entirely on your decision. There's also this new Mega Man comic series published by a new comic book company named Butoden Entertainment, which, according to some Twitter users, seems like it's pretty good. I may do a potential review series on it to give my full verbal thoughts. That is, if YouTube will give me back my monetization for the YouTube Partner Program, which I spent 10 full years for. But anyways, back to IDW Sonic. As I said, pick these up on Amazon, and please support the staff who work on these comics. They deserve the love and support for the effort they provided for us fans. Do not pirate these or go to online sites just to read them for the first time. It's something that I will always disavow, and something that I will never do. With that said, let's get into this review. The Metal Virus arc has been teased in the ending of issue 12, where Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik, who has recently gotten his memories restored by Metal Sonic appearing, is now back to his evil ways as he reveals a deadly looking contraption indicating that the world will be filled at his hands. It leads directly up to this very issue where he will fulfill his plan. The main cover for this issue somehow did something I never would have expected. It features a fighting game style cover where Sonic and Tails are about to go up against Rough and Tumble, and a character selection screen layout is shown as well, featuring the former duo, Amy and Knuckles as Player 1 characters, while the latter duo, Eggman and Metal Sonic, are featured as Player 2 characters, further emphasizing the heroes versus villains aspect. The first thing I thought of when seeing this cover was Dragon Ball FighterZ, where it had a versus screen laid out like this, but it seems that it's actually a reference to the character selection screens from the Marvel vs. Capcom series, specifically Clash of the Superheroes, which I actually just played for the first time on the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. Very convenient that I decided to purchase this game before writing this review. This was created by Adam Bryce Thomas, who has been one of my favorite IDW Sonic artists since issue 7, and it seems that he has good taste in fighting games. Props to him as always. With that said, let's get into the story. Sonic chats with Flicky about the recent events since the last saga. Amy is currently working with some civilians and resistance members to run a new organization called the Restoration. Knuckles is still chilling on Angel Island to respect not only his own boundaries, but also guard the Master Emerald. Silver is still searching for the main source that came about in his future, and Tails is crafting some new projects. How nice of Sonic to explain the recap for me. He's got me covered and saved me the trouble. He still believes that Eggman is retired and that Metal Sonic has been de-weaponized as far as he knows. This relaxing moment is unfortunately interrupted by Tails, who appears out of nowhere and jump scares Flicky. Great job jinxing yourself, Sonic. Tails hands him a note that he received back at his workshop, written anonymously as a message to claim that there is a welcome party at Windmill Village to celebrate the return of the world's most brilliant doctor. Sonic is skeptical about the odd wording in the letter, suspecting that Eggman, while still having amnesia, may have written it. Tails brings up the events of issues 5 and 6, where Sonic and the Chaotix confirm that Eggman has fully changed and is a kind mechanic known as Mr. Tinker. Sonic wonders if Eggman had recovered, or that he may have fooled them, or maybe there's another Agile. And my answer to that is maybe all of those have something to do with you letting Metal Sonic go. That's still a mistake on your part, by the way. And yes, Shadow will say, "I told you so," if it all proves correct. I will wait until issue 19 to further emphasize your naivety. Tails suggests that they look into it to see what happened, and the duo race towards Windmill Village. Meanwhile, in Final Egg, which the comic refers to as the secret laboratory for some reason, Eggman humorously sings to himself while preparing to put his new machine to the test. Dr. Starline walks in and informs his boss that Sonic has been successfully baited, revealing that he's the one who sent the letter. Starline wonders if being over is better than simply ambushing, but Eggman says that he is only doing it for the purpose of messing with Sonic's head, to directly quote him, and basing it on what Starline previously suggested. He wants to make this as subtle as possible so that he can work his way towards a global proclamation. So, what, he's gonna pop up on a TV and say,
"I come to make an announcement"?
In the next series of panels, we get our first glimpse of a metal virus transformation. The machine pours liquid on a green hill flower, and it causes the flower to turn into metal. Starline is impressed by the success of the transmutation, but Eggman doesn't seem satisfied as he notices a small flaw of it and states that the processed wood remained unaffected. Knowing that he might need more data, he orders Starline to bring him the animals. Oh god, you know Eggy ain't messing around when he starts taking drastic measures. Cutting back to the heroes, they arrive at Windmill Village and investigate, and notice the lack of anything harming it and the townsfolk missing. They hear a voice calling out for help, and it's revealed to be Elder Scruffy, who we haven't seen since issue 5. I even forgot about him somehow. He's tied up on a tree branch, and the duo release him from the rope. He tells them that 2 thugs kidnapped Mr. Tinker and have come back and locked everyone up in the community center. Sonic believes that Eggman was not faking his reformation, but asks Scruffy about how long ago Tinker was kidnapped, and Scruffy replies that he had been kidnapped about a week ago and they were not able to find Sonic and tell him about the incident because Sonic has been dealing with a formidable adversary at the time. See my reviews on the Battle for Angel Island arc for more details. Scruffy confirms his previous statement about the bad guys' actions, having never seen them before, and assumes they might still be lurking somewhere. As Tails asks him for more evidence, a familiar voice calls out to them, and it's coming from the aforementioned bad guys who committed all this, Rough and Tumble. Yeah, who could have seen this coming? And they are doing the Ginyu Force thing again, calling out their names in the third person. This is literally their running gag at this point. As Tails finds confusion about their choice of rhyming, Sonic recalls his first confrontation with them in issue 3, where he and Knuckles defeated and apprehended them back at Barricade Town. They are shown to be using weapons this time around, which Tails describes as weird looking, but Sonic says it doesn't make a difference anyway. He has Tails assist Scruffy in saving the villagers while he deals with the crooks again. Ruff remarks that Sonic shouldn't take them lightly simply because they were defeated with whips and may be stronger this time around, and Tumble adds that he wants a rematch with Knuckles. Bro, Knuckles literally threatened you when you were defeated. He'd still kick your butt. Sonic tells them that the Echidna had better things to do than have a needless scuffle with them, and now it's his turn to ask the real questions, such as Eggman's whereabouts and if he was the one to have busted them out of jail, but Ruff denies this. As they start fighting, he uses his new gear to throw a capsule of liquid at Sonic. Sonic dodges the capsules and begins to wonder how the 2 skunks acquired these gear, considering they aren't smart enough to build such things or send a cryptic letter. He demands them once again to tell him about Eggman, but they refuse, saying that they only will if Sonic can defeat them, while Tumble chooses to resort to action rather than words. As this goes on, Tails smashes a lock on the door with a spin dash to free the villagers who were locked up inside the community center, but requests Elder Scruffy to stay put with the villagers until the fight is over. Back at Final Egg, Eggman begins commencing test 2 of his plan by using the animals. He uses his machine to pour liquid on Pocky, which causes him to immediately transmutate, becoming completely metallic. Eggman proceeds to test 3, in which he orders Pocky to grab Picky, then is told to let him go and step away. The virus inflicted on Pocky gets carried over to Picky, who also undergoes the virus transmutation. Eggman notices that Pocky shows aggressive tendencies without direction, which he considers a bonus. Starline assists him with moving the samples into position so that he can carry out test 4. He orders and threatens Ricky to grab the infected flower he poured liquid on earlier and has him tap it on 3 provided samples, a leftover motorbug, a sandwich, and a rock. Starline notes that they don't appear to be infected. However, the infection from the flower passes on to Ricky, completing test 5. Eggman officially declares the full completion of his new plan, the Metal Virus. He then explains more about its effects, as even with the slightest exposure, the virus will spread across organic tissue, converting that organism into his robotic slave. He also states that inorganic or processed material remains inert, meaning that he himself is safe from the infection. Starline still expresses joy in working for his idol, saying that he never dreamed of it happening when searching for him. The doctor asks him how he found him, since Metal Sonic, who was in his Neo form, had half of his empire while scouring the globe. Starline says that Neo Metal sends search parties, which have a finite amount of sensors within a limited range, all of which that takes a considerable amount of time. Of course, he reminds Eggman, and basically also us the audience, that he had been using the Warp Topaz, which allowed him to open portals to different locations in the world in an instant. Eggman wonders if Starline ever sleeps, and Starline confirms he never did, and kept on going until he succeeded. Although he admits he made himself ill, it was all worth it for him to find his idol. He wasn't kidding when he said he spent most of his life and career out of studying Eggman in the past 2 issues. And the fact that he says, sleep is for the weak, further proves it. Who is he, Styx the Badger? Either way, Eggman is glad to have a fan and new minion who thinks so, and asks him to zoom in on the fight in Windmill Village to happily watch Sonic get his butt kicked. As such, Sonic is hit in the stomach by Ruff, who then gets kicked in the head by Tails. He lets his best friend know that the villagers are safe and checks in on his well-being. Tumble interrupts their casual moment and asks why Tails is cutting in. Sonic and Tails respond by mocking their usual ridiculous introduction by going, "You're about to get busted by Sonic and Tails!" Best part of this issue. There's a reason no one finds your performances impressive, you lousy skunks. Ruff feels insulted that their performance is being mocked again, and Tumble starts to rage, saying that he lost his tail, but Tails gets 2. Okay. Kind of a petty reason to pick a fight with someone. He attacks again by spinning around his hammer gear, or whatever that thing is, but Sonic and Tails narrowly dodge it. The duo decide to split up. Tails chooses to fight Ruff, while Sonic deals with Tumble. Sonic proceeds to make fun of the big dummy by joking about him being tagged in a game. Tails avoids more capsules thrown at him by Ruff. As Ruff launches another capsule, Tails quickly reads the attack, then catches the capsule with his tail and heaves it right back at Ruff. Ruff reacts painfully to the effects of the putrid gas as Tails removes his vapor condenser and smashes it. Dang, we haven't seen Tails get an epic moment like this in a long time. Bro really meant business here. Eggman and Starline see all of this happen in disappointment, as the former says that the vapor condenser was a waste. Starline suggests moving on to test 6, but Eggman says that there isn't one. Starline wonders if Eggman is being serious with this plan, seeing as how the samples were minuscule, but Eggman confidently believes the metal virus works and decides to start the next phase of his master plan. Starline is about to add another point about this, but Eggman cuts him off, reminding him that he is the evil mastermind here and tells him to keep an eye on the test subjects while he works on his next step. I think Starline might be in the right here. Eggman might seem a little overconfident about this whole thing. Cutting back to the battle, Sonic continues rage baiting Tumble. He runs up on a wall, and Tumble breaks it in frustration to Sonic's quips. Sonic jumps on a windmill and spin attacks through its turbine. The turbine rolls towards Tumble, and it cuts his hammer gear in half, which was attached to his tail. Sonic is about to land a finishing blow to him, but stops abruptly as Tumble starts crying about the loss of a new tail after he had acquired a new one. I'm sorry. What? This is irrelevant on so many levels, it's funny. Sonic tells him to give it up and move along, and Tumble goes, "You're heartless! You're just heartless! All I ever wanted to do was cave your head in!" Dude, shut up. You're the one who enslaved all the people in Barricade Town, harassed this village by locking everyone inside the community center, and choosing to start this fight. You brought this upon yourself, and you definitely don't deserve any sympathy from Sonic either. Sonic checks in with Tails, who had just defeated Ruff with a taste of his own medicine. Now that the so-called mercenaries have lost once again, Sonic tells them about where Eggman is as part of the deal. As Ruff is about to explain himself, the two skunks suddenly get pulled in through an inconceivable portal and disappear. This leaves Sonic and Tails shocked and confused. Tails thinks that Eggman is truly back, seeing as how the skunk duo kidnapped him and returned here with unusual tech. But Sonic thinks that somebody else could have freed them from jail, and that they could be using Eggman for their own goal. Tails reminds him not to overthink things, and Sonic hopes that it isn't the obvious that concludes the mystery. He plans to meet up with Silver to see if he has discovered something, while Tails stays at Windmill Village and helps clean up some damage. This is literally a repeat of issue 1, where he did the same thing in Beast of View when Sonic left, and Sonic even points it out in the next panel. He declares that he will find Eggman and makes sure the Doctor's plan does not succeed furthermore. Back at the final egg, Ruff pleads with Eggman to give him and Tumble another chance at fighting Sonic. Eggman's reaction is priceless. He is still done with their crap and their antics. Really shows how stupid these two so-called mercenaries really are. At this moment, Metal Sonic comes into the room and pushes Ruff and Tumble out of the way. He gives Ruff a death stare after Ruff yells at him and Ruff backs away. You're lucky Metal Sonic isn't in his Neo state, cause he would have beaten you up immediately. Eggy Boy becomes delighted to see Metal Sonic take action, and Starline requests to join in, as he wants to be the next to fight Sonic and know exactly how to strike at him. That's the end of the story. Have to say, this was a pretty decent start to the Metal Virus saga. It introduces this brand new concept that we'd never seen before in the franchise up to this point, and the way they set it up was perfect, which is why it's going to be the first highlight of this issue. The Metal Virus, as explained by Eggman, is a synthetic concoction device that can transform any organic being to their transmutated metallic state, which is its main purpose. In addition, if an organic being is touched by one who has already turned metallic by the virus, the infection will be immediately and slowly spread on them, becoming a metallic being as well. The name for this metallic form is never mentioned in universe, and Eggman never states what it's actually called. However, it does eventually get an official name in issue 15, so we'll be saving my full thoughts on this form when we get to that issue. In the case of the Metal Virus itself, it looks like it could be Eggman's most dangerous invention yet. This man committed even more severe animal abuse than ever before, as he turns Pocky into a metallic state, manipulates him into spreading the infection on Picky upon contact, and straight up threatens Ricky to get him infected too. This is how you know he ain't messing around. He really meant what he said in issue 12, where he wanted to make the world suffer. That being said though, IDW does a terrific take with Eggman's role in this series, as he's more in line with his personality in Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Unleashed. Heck, probably on par with his Hattie M series counterpart, who will roboticize his victims. Having Eggman back as a main villain after his initial retirement for the first 11 issues was a good move by Ian Flynn, since I already liked how Neo Metal Sonic, who started off as a mysterious figure until issue 7, was a great replacement. It's a thing that I love about most fiction stories, where a usual main villain that is used in most episodes ends up taking a back seat, normally after being defeated, or in most cases being killed, allowing another to take their place. Even the Archie Sonic series handles it great on a few occasions, especially in Sonic Universe. To see the IDW series use this approach, did not miss one bit. Overall, IDW Eggman is great. He can be pretty goofy at times, but he still retains his villainous factor from his previous incarnations. However, my so far only critique is that he appears to be a little overconfident with his Metal Virus plan, as Starline briefly wonders if something unexpected could happen. I wonder if this is hinting something. Next highlight is the rematch against the two skunk mercenaries, Ruff and Tumble. In case if you guys haven't seen my issue 3 review, these guys are brothers who at some point in the comic became mercenaries. Beyond that, nothing more in their backstory is revealed. They're still generic grunts at the end of the day, complete with idiocy and arrogance, and are employed by these two scientists who already think nothing of them, especially Eggman. However, in terms of their physical skills, they managed to put up a better fight than in the first encounter. They're able to catch Sonic off guard in a few instances, and even successfully land a hit on him. It's all thanks to their weapons that Eggman gave them, allowing them this advantage. Unfortunately for them, they still fail in the end, and lose their weapons in the process. If you so-called mercenaries can't even beat Tails, what makes you think you stand a chance against Knuckles now? Huh, Tumble? Overall, my opinions on Ruff and Tumble remain the same since my issue 3 review. There's still a discount Bebop and Rocksteady from the TMNT franchise as dim-witted duos, and their personalities still have yet to be fleshed out. In spite of that though, they do still have unique factors when it comes to their physical abilities, such as in this issue and in the annual 2019 where they kill the Egg Golem together. That said, I really hope we see their personalities fleshed out more and that the comic explores more on their backstory in their future appearances. Next highlight is our adorable two-tailed fox, Miles Tails Prower. I already gave him a brief highlight back in my issue 1 review from 2 years ago, where he no longer fears anything and is willing to fight, which was further showcased in the Battle for Angel Island arc. He's able to easily overpower Ruff on his own and destroy his vapor condenser, and it's just awesome. This is how you're supposed to write Tales, and Ian Flynn knew exactly how to deliver with it. He was able to stop a bomb from going off in Station Square on his own, was willing to fight Eggman in the Space Colony arc after almost losing his best friend, and even in other medias like the Archie series and Sonic Boom, he's capable of standing up to formidable foes, especially when trying to save his loved ones. I'm happy to see Tails get the actual respect he deserves when it comes to fighting, all for the same reasons as the other game characters in this series, and it should stay this way moving forward. In addition to his role in assisting Sonic in battling Ruff and Tumble, one moment that I found to be funny but also greatly executed was when they mocked their enemy's introduction poses. Kind of a missed opportunity for them to say, "You're about to get busted by the unbreakable bond, Sonic and Tails!" But it's still a cool moment nonetheless. Next highlights are the references, allusions, and callbacks, although there are only two. The first is Lanolin, returning from issue 2, who is seen wearing an outfit that bears a striking resemblance to the one Amy used to wear early on in the series' lifespan, or just simply dubbed Classic Amy from the Classic Universe before Sonic Adventure. The second is Eggman referring to his new Metavirus scheme as the Master Plan, which is a reference to his theme from Sonic Adventure 2. This is the second issue where this is referenced, the first being issue 10. That's it for the highlights and references that I could catch and analyze. These are always my favorite parts of writing my reviews, as I've been a longtime fan of this franchise for over 20 years. There wasn't a whole lot to delve into in terms of well-known continuity elements, but I'm willing to believe that they were focusing on building up the Metavirus for the next several issues, and that definitely works. And I say several issues because the Metavirus arc is a very long saga, and it's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this review series in the first place. We are going to be here for a long time, and I know for a fact that I got a lot of things to talk about the further we get through this arc. Strap yourselves in for this one, folks. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to mention the art style for this issue, but it was all done by Adam Bryce Thomas for the first time since issue 7. He managed to make Ruff and Tumble look more menacing than in issue 3, where it was handled by Jennifer Hernandez, and it totally fits their vengeful role in this issue. Some of the expressions were also pretty funny too, like how Sonic reacts to Ruff and Tumble announcing themselves, and Eggman's usual ludicrous smile when he says, "Ha! Excellent!" As for the action scenes, it's still good, but it's not as much as issue 7. I kinda missed the shiny look Adam added on the characters that was prominent in that issue and issue 2, so it just felt like his art here was a slight downgrade. That could just be me though. For this issue, I'll be giving it an 8 out of 10. A nice start to this new saga, the introduction to the Metavirus, which will be a recurring plot element in later issues, Sonic and Tails still being one of the best duos in fiction, Ruff and Tumble's rematch, decent art style, and stellar writing by Ian Flynn. Now for the variant covers. As usual for this series, these are created for readers who want alternative ways of purchasing a comic, and IDW often handles this greatly to the best of their ability with their comics. This issue features 3 variant covers as opposed to the usual 2, for the first time since issue 7, which had 4, and they all deliver in near perfect fashion. Let's go over them. First off, we have cover B. This one features Sonic and Tails in a vibrant setting, doing their cool poses, while the background appears to show different areas with a gray line in between to split them. Angel Island is shown on the center left, while Green Hill is shown on the center right. This cover feels like a reminiscent of issue 1's variant covers, and it perfectly encapsulates the never-ending unbreakable bond between Sonic and Tails, and that makes this cover one of my all-time favorites in the entire series. The best thing about this cover is that it was drawn by Kyron Gates, which is the 4th cover he has made for the series. The first being the RI-C cover from issue 1, the second being the cover A from issue 5, and the third being the cover A from issue 7. He still manages to perfectly replicate Yuichi Yukawa's art style, and it always pleases me seeing how talented he is at it. I love this cover a lot, easily the best one for this issue, and I hope to see more from that man in the future issues. Next up is the RI cover. This chronicles the events of the story, where Sonic and Tails are standing on a tree, taunting Rough and Tumble, prompting stressed reactions from the latter two. This type of humor reminds me of issue 4's RI-A cover, where Sonic casually cheers after destroying the giant Buzz Bomber. Here he straight up deprecates the skunk guys in a joking manner, as if to say they're pathetic, to which they actually are, and Tails watches him and does the same. Natalie Fordrain delivered peak once again with her 14th IDW Sonic cover, and she still never misses. She really enjoys making these covers for us fans, and it's impressive that she has never been excluded from all issues, and she's still the only artist to be a part of every single one. So props to her as always. Next and last is the RE cover, another one that chronicles the events of this issue, as Eggman holds his metallic green hill plant that he poured the metal virus liquid on during test 1 of his plan. This was also made by Adam Bryce Thomas, and it appears that he just now decided to use the shinier look with his style. Why wasn't it used in the actual issue? Weird. Also, considering that random spotlight thing being shown on him, it looks like he's trying to present his new plant to his audience, which could just likely be Orbite and Cubot. I don't know why, but it just looks like it. Overall though, very amazing cover with unique shading and lighter contrast, and it's one of the most underrated ones in my opinion. This issue's variant covers are all fantastic. They are very captivating and tell the reader what to expect in this story, and cover B stands out to be the best one for a number of reasons, as it works not just to keep readers invested in the story, but also great at promoting the series and further establishing that they are well made with so much love and care. And that concludes my IDW Sonic issue 13 review. It continues to show what made IDW Sonic so great, as Dr. Eggy Boy is back from retirement, ready to fulfill his brand new sinister plan, a nice start to the popular Metal Virus saga that I look forward to fully reviewing, and Tails getting an epic moment again as he should. Like I said before, this is a very long saga, and things will end up getting very dire and serious moving forward. Once again, strap yourselves in for this one folks, because we are going to be here for a while. If you made it this far in the video, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this whole review. Next time we'll be looking at issue 14, where Dr. Starline will be the next opponent to challenge Sonic. Curious to see what this platypus has in store for our hero. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.